Good afternoon, good morning, happy Friday again. Excited to do this video. We sure do enjoy it. We're getting a lot of positive feedback. I'll just go right into it. Tons of political news this week. Unless you had your head buried in the sand, I think you're quite aware of what's going on. And from a market standpoint, what's unique is the VIX index, as we often talk about, is its lowest point since December of 1993. That's historically low. I can't, it's hard to even imagine with everything that's going on politically why it's so low. And I think most people just ignore it is the deal. There's so much news, there's so much out there that just forget it. I'm just not going to pay attention. That's probably the best way to deal with it, is just to bury your head in the sand and just forget about it. From a market standpoint, things just are kind of stable right now. No major news, nothing really to other than the VIX index being so low. Something came up. As you know, we like to give a little bit of actual real-life examples and questions that clients have. And got a question yesterday in a client meeting I thought was worth addressing, and that is, client has some stock they've owned for many, many, many years, and they don't have any clue what they paid for it. So that's called cost basis. And cost basis is really important because what you paid for something minus what you sell it for, the difference is either a gain or a loss, and that's in most cases taxable. There are a few cases where it's not, but stock is absolutely taxable, either at long-term capital gain rates or short-term capital gain rates. And his question was, I don't plan to sell the stock, but I'm worried about the taxes because I have no idea what I paid for it. I'm also worried about when my kids inherit this, what's going to happen for them. Two things. One, from an inheritance standpoint, unless you have an estate worth $10 million or more, or actually it's I think $11.5 million or more, you really don't have to worry about that at all. Now some states are different. They have a state inheritance tax, but from a federal tax standpoint, nothing to worry about there. There's also no transfer tax or anything like that. People, for the most part, can inherit your stuff, inheritance and transfer tax free. There are, again, very, very large estates where that might be different. And if you have one of those, I'm sure you're aware of the challenges, at least I hope you are. From an income tax standpoint, if he were to sell that stock now, the problem is he couldn't tell the IRS what he paid for it. So the IRS would say it's all gain, and that's not tasteful. Right now, the tax law allows, so if he died, whoever inherits that stock, whether it's his spouse, whether his kids, will get a step up in basis on that stock. So what he sold it for, or technically the value at his date of death, or there's a way to revalue that I think within a few months afterwards, but the value on his date of death becomes the new cost basis for whoever inherits it. So they could sell it the day after they inherit it and pay almost zero tax on it from an income tax standpoint. So to answer that client's question, he doesn't have a lot to worry about. If he doesn't plan to use it, he plans to die with it, then there's probably not going to be an income tax problem and certainly not an inheritance tax problem. If you got any more questions about that, give us a call. We'd love to talk about it, and hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy the summer. See you next week.